SportzScene for another week. I'm Kevin Braysher, your host. As always, plenty happening in the world of sport. In fact, it is all happening at the moment here in June as we head into June, July, the next couple of months. Absolutely everything you can think of is happening in the world of sport. We've got a short show for you today. We've got an outside broadcast coming up at 9 o'clock, but we will be here with a jam-packed hour of sport talk. Joining me on the show, as always, the founding father of SportzScene, Mr. Darren Madigan. Darren, welcome to the show.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, another first short show we've actually had in a while. We've got plenty to throw in there. We'll bring you well and truly up to date, and still a great time to be a couch potato.
Absolutely it is. And Ethan James from the QRL also joins us on the show this morning. Ethan, welcome to the show.
Morning, Kev. Morning, Darren. Morning, everyone out there. Another good morning for a bit of sport chat.
This is absolutely always a good morning for a bit of sport chat, and a big one during the week. The most expected result of the last week. Rafa Nadal, his 8th French Open title. No one has ever won 8 of the same Grand Slams before. What an effort, Rafa Nadal.
Yeah, it's something quite remarkable, isn't it? To come back from knee surgery like he has, and he as was expected really, but he just blitzed the final against Ferrer in straight sets. There was a bit of commotion with a bit of a protest on court as well, which livened things up a bit. But yeah, Rafa on clay, French Open. Who can stop him? No one.
No one. Well, Soderling did it once. No one else has.
No one else has.
That's it. But we'll go through some results from overnight and last night in the NRL round 14. Both of these games had some origin implications. The Cowboys, they got up 22-16 over the Dragons. A great win for them. Josh Dugan, however, on report, he looks to be the man in line to take Jared Haynes' fullback jersey if Jared Haynes is unable to recover from his hamstring tear from last week. But Josh Dugan on report out of that game. But the Cowboys, a much-needed 22-16 win over the Dragons, and the Bulldogs 32-30 over Manly at Brookvale and Golden Point extra time. A terrific win there for the Bulldogs, but Anthony Watmough, of course, New South Wales back row, assisted from the field in that game too. A few worries come up in the last couple of weeks for New South Wales in terms of injuries and James Tarmel's suspension, all the rest of it, Ethan. After such a good performance in game one, the last thing they would want is make a bunch of forced changes.
Yeah, that's it. But it looks like they'll have to definitely at fullback anyway, and they're in the front row as well with Tamo being out. The Dugan sort of swing arm. Perhaps he let out a bit of a swing arm on Thurston as he was chasing through a kick there, so he might have something to answer. But we'll wait and see what the judiciary says.
We'll wait and see. Look, I didn't think there was too much in it personally. The Dugan one, I think he'll probably be okay. But at the same time, you don't want your players on report going into selection like this, and he's been in great form the last few weeks. Josh Dugan in the AFL round 12 last night, Hawthorn 15-12. 102 defeat Carlton 13-9, 87, Darren, 97 rather. That was a good win there for Hawthorn, their 10th straight.
Yeah, they're looking good, aren't they? I mean, that's the understatement. But Judd, 250th game, Roughhead and Franklin, the dynamic duo, 4 goals each. Yeah, they're looking very, very strong indeed. And them and Geelong later this year, who knows?
Absolutely. Just correction on that score. It was 15-12, 102 Hawthorn to Carlton's 13-9, 87. That was the Hawthorn Hawks getting up again last night, and they still sit on top of the AFL ladder in the 12th round. In the basketball, in the Sino-Australia basketball series between Australia and China, that is wrapped up. 4 games, best of 4 series. It's finished at 2-2. The game 4, China won at 88-81 over Australia, but Australia will win the series on aggregate points, 289-264. Good stuff there from the Aussies, and a good series. They won games 2 and 3 and lost games 1 and 4. In the NBA, this is the final series there. The Heat getting up in game 4, 109-93 over the Spurs. That one was in San Antonio, so the next game will be on Monday, also in San Antonio, but with the last 2 games in Miami, that was a crucial win for the Heat as they have the last 2 games at home and they now have the home advantage in the series. So the Miami Heat, a big win last time. Darren, we've got some other international results as well.
Yeah, what's the bet that series goes down to a deciding match? They know how to do it, the Americans, don't they? The Queen's Tournament in Britain, or the AGON Championships as its sponsorship name. Leighton Hewitt through to the semis. He knocked off Del Potro 6-2 in the deciding set. Great to see him turning back the clock. He's won this tournament 4 times already. He will play in he'll play in a semi-final against Mario Cilic, who knocked off Thomas Burditch, and Joe Wilfred Songer will play Andy Murray in the other semi there at Queen's as well. In Halle in Germany, the Jerry Weber Open wins to Tommy Haas, Richard Gasquet, Mikhail Yuzny and Roger Federer. Only his second double bagel over an opponent in his entire professional career. He beat Zverev 6-love, 6-love, and that is just incredible. For those of you who don't understand tennis terms, 6-love is referred to as a bagel in our sport. As far as the girls are concerned, they're also playing in Birmingham, the Aegean Classic, and we have 3 quarterfinals decided there. Vekic has gotten through Rabarakova, and Daniela Hantakova, a name we haven't heard for a little while, playing Francesca Schiavone, and got up 7-6 in the tie-break deciding set. As far as the golf is concerned, big one, this is the US Open, and Phil Mickelson turning back the clock there. A first round 67. He's through 8 in the second round, currently 1 over the card, but still leading the tournament at 2 under. And John Senden and Jason Day tied for 8th at the moment, the highest place Australians. Matthew Goggin tied for 16th, and Jeff Ogilvy, I can tell you Adam Scott had a shocker in the second round and went 8 over par after a good first round, so he will be worrying about the cut at the moment. At the moment, the projected cut is 5 over the card, and names like Aaron Badley and Adam Scott are currently just outside that. So fingers crossed that cut gets a bit higher, out to about 7 over, and brings those boys back in, especially with the year that Scott has had. Taking also a look at the cricket. Just bear with me a minute, guys. We're switching back and forth between screens. And as far as the cricket is concerned, the Champions Trophy, Australia's having a shocker, apart from all the stuff off the field. On the field, we are the bottom of the table in Group A. 2 matches. We've only got to play one. The other one against New Zealand was washed out. So at the moment, we lost the first match. Currently, New Zealand and England leading that table. In Group B, India and South Africa. Our next is leading Group B. Our next match is on Monday the 17th against Sri Lanka at the Oval, and then we commence the semi-final process. As far as NAS, we've got a bit of motor racing going on at the moment, and some qualifying has just finished around the traps, and we'll just bring up our NASCAR at the moment. Carl Edwards in Michigan, the 2-mile very, very fast oval, is currently on pole for the race, ahead of Kurt Busch. Marcus Ambrose, 23rd in that there. And as far as the IndyCar, I can tell you the IndyCar qualifying has just finished, and Marco Andretti on pole for the race in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Mile, ahead of James Hinchcliffe. Will Power sitting on 3rd spot, Scotty Dixon 11th, and Ryan Briscoe 19th there at the moment. As far as the V8 supercars go in practice, we're currently up in Darwin for the Hidden Valley round this weekend. Mark Winterbottom in final practice before qualifying this morning. Currently fastest there from Tim Slade, Scotty McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen. I can tell you Usain Bolt in the Diamond League event in Oslo in Norway came out after getting beaten last week in 100 metres by Justin Gatlin, and also coming off a hamstring injury, and he's gone and run a 19.79 200 metres for the fastest time this year over that distance. So obviously the hamstring wasn't too bad as well. So that pretty much brings you up to date with a lot of the news around the world and overnight at the moment.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Darren. If you want to get in contact with us here at SportzScene, we are on social media and other things. Send us an email at news@sportscene.com.au. That's news@sportscene.com.au. Also on facebook.com/sportscene, SportzScene, SportzScene. On also youtube.com/sportscene. On there, we've got things like podcasts of the show and some old interviews. Darren, you were telling me we're uploading an old interview you did with Mark Schwarzer a few years ago.
Yeah, I actually uploaded it last night. It was done in 2007, but it's a fascinating little interview there. It runs for about 12-13 minutes, and it covers quite a bit of ground. But the thing for me that's really fascinating is the way he talks about he's running his career out and hopefully retiring after the 2010 World Cup. And obviously here we are, 2013, and he's playing like a man 20 years his junior. Some of his performances, especially against Japan, were just fantastic. So really do yourself a favour, as the old man with the hat used to say, and have a bit of a listen and see what it was like, a few years ago for some of these guys who thought their careers weren't going to last much longer.
That's it. Jump on youtube.com/SportzScene. We're also on Twitter at SportzScene as well. We'll take a quick break here on SportzScene. Jam-packed hour we've got for you today. A shorter show. After the break, we're going to talk through some rugby league. So stay with us here on SportzScene.
Thomson Cooling is not only a cooling provider, you can also enjoy a cosy, warm and clean environment in your home with cost-efficient reverse cycle air conditioning. Our station sponsor, Thomson Cooling, will recommend the best Daikin reverse cycle air conditioning system for your home. Interest-free packages covering supply and installation are now available. Friendly advice, peace of mind, prompt response, quality product and service. Call today for a no-obligation free quote. Thomson Cooling, 1300 852 869.
I came to this country because my cousin told me about a restaurant I could work in. Then they said I owed them $40,000. They threatened me and my family back home. Back then, I just thought that's how things worked here in Australia.
For confidential legal advice, contact Anti-Slavery Australia.
Join the 101 FM Supporters Club today and be in this month's prize draw, plus enjoy future discounts on 101 FM ticketed events and merchandise. For just $10 per year, you can become part of the 101 FM family. Current 101 FM subscribers will automatically be transferred to the Supporters Club. Phone 38088 101 and join the 101 FM Supporters Club now.
101 FM.
You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It is 17 minutes past 8. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James with you. I will be taking you through to 9 o'clock when we've got an outside broadcast as well. Just a reminder, each Tuesday morning during Morning Magazine, Terry Lindsay from our sponsor Technology Training Group answers your questions on all matters regarding computer technology. If you'd like him to give you the right advice, then email your question to traintechgroup@outlook.com. That's techtraingroup@outlook.com, or phone Terry on 1300 136 679. That's 1300 136 679. Each week a lucky person will receive a free lesson valued at $55. Let's get on with it here on Sports Scene. Time to talk some Intrust Super Cup, and we'll jump straight into the round 14 here. The first game, they're being played this afternoon. Wynnum Manly Seagulls up against the North Devils at Coolgardie Oval. Wynnum Manly, mate, coming off a real hiding from the East Tigers last week. Can they bounce back?
Yeah, wait and see. Just for the record as well, it was 55 points to 6. Not that I'm too keen on rubbing it in anywhere or anything like that.
It's a big win.
It's a big win. It's a big win. Junior Sow, of course, 4 tries in the second half. Cody Walker got a hat-trick, but I'm digressing a bit there. I'll get back to
Wynnum Manly versus North for now. We'll talk East in a minute.
We will. Bounce back factor. Wynnum, they were all over the place last week. Their defence was really non-existent at times there in the second half. I think they had 7 tries, ran through them in the second half. I think they'll bounce back there at home there with the chook pen behind them, so I think they'll bounce back there against North.
The bounce back factor is an amazing thing. It often comes through for them. The South Logan Magpies up against the Burleigh Bears. That's at Brandon Park tonight, 6 p.m. Mate, how do you see this one going down?
Yeah, the Bears probably lost one that they shouldn't have last week. I didn't see the match. You probably had a good eye on it there, Kev. They lost to Central Queensland.
They did, and it just basically didn't turn up on the day, which has been a problem for them all year. Mentally has been a problem for them all year. And just when you think they turn the corner, a good performance against Redcliffe, they go out and they don't turn up the next week against Central Queensland, who, with all due respect, it's a side Burleigh probably should have beaten that day. But, Central Queensland very good. The Bears they let them get the jump on them. Central Queensland a try in the first set of the game, another one 5 minutes later, and you can't give teams head starts like that, and Burleigh's done it all too often. South Logan, on the other hand, have been consistently good all year. It's hard for me to see South Logan going down this one.
Yeah, I can't see that either. We talked about them being the sort of surprise packets a little while ago, but they just they're that consistent now that they're no longer surprising with their performances. They're travelling really well. They've seemed to have sort of matured beyond their years almost this season. They're playing some great footy, and I can see them winning that one as well.
Absolutely. The Northern Pride, mate, up against the Ipswich Jets. That's tomorrow, 11:45 a.m. at Burleigh Park. How do you see that going down?
Yeah, it's a huge match up there and a huge occasion, really. I'm sure Darren can maybe fill us in a little bit more, but they're playing the curtain raiser to the South Sydney match. South Sydney took a match up there, Darren?
Yeah, it's going to be a massive event. They're talking about $2 million coming into the economy this weekend in Cairns alone. Just because of this NRL match. So there's a bit going on up here. Actually, I was just reading before that we've picked up the 2017 World Mountain Bike Championship event too. But that's off topic. Northern Pride, looking really quite good at the moment. Ipswich are always hard to beat, but given such a big event and Barlow Park's going to be packed, I mean, they've been talking about all the what do you call it, the corporate suites and everything sold out ages ago. These are the Northern Pride ones. So, they're really looking forward to making a few bucks this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And that's 1v2, that one. They're on equal points at the top of the ladder. The winner goes to the top. It's as big as it gets this weekend, that one. Northern Pride versus Ipswich. I need a tip from you.
Up north, Northern Pride, but I can see it going right down to the wire.
Absolutely. Ipswich will turn up and have a real hot crack, but I think, Northern Pride at home is probably the way to go with that one. Central Queensland Capras, Brown Park, that's tomorrow afternoon. That's live on Channel 9. They take on the East Tigers. Can the East Tigers play as well this week as they did last week?
I hope so, definitely. I think that was it was a win East need to had. They've been playing some good footy, but they hadn't quite been getting the results. But I think they just let all the frustration out of their system, and unfortunately, winning with the victims on the other end of that one. But it'll be a good match. Central Queensland, they're always a better side at home. They'll be confident after that win against Burleigh, and I think one of the players to watch for them is their fullback Cameron Munster. Mm-hmm. He's been picked up by the Melbourne Storm for 2 years after this season, so they obviously can see some potential there, so I think he's definitely one to watch in that. He
scored a cracking try last week against Burleigh, one of those intercept ones, the fullback where there's a support play coming through. He's thrown out the arm, got the intercept, and he's run 80 metres, beat about 6 blokes and scored in the corner. It was fantastic, so keep an eye. Cameron Munster, very good player. The next game of the round, Sunshine Coast Sea Eagles up against the Redcliffe Dolphins. That at Stockland Stadium, Sunday afternoon, 2:30 p.m.
Yeah, Redcliffe are struggling a bit, really. They had a massive lead against Mackay up there in Mackay, and they got run down in the final few minutes. Mm-hmm. So Sunshine Coast will punch above their weight on home turf, and I reckon Redcliffe should have enough talent to get them home, but Sunny Coast, they always punch above their weight there.
Been saying that all season with Redcliffe. You sort of sniff an upset at times against them as well. You're right. Mackay and Tweedhead Seagulls get the bye this week. We look at the ladder at the moment as it currently stands. Northern Pride on top with the Ipswich Jets. They're on equal points. Northern Pride on top with 4 and against. In third place, South Slogan Magpies. Fourth is the Mackay Cutters. And fifth is the North Devils. These are the top 5. Followed up, Wynnum Manly, East Tigers, Tweed Seagulls, Redcliffe Dolphins, Central Capras, Burleigh Bears and Sunshine Coast Seagulls rounds out the competition at the moment. It is 23 minutes past 8 here on SportzScene. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James here with you, talking through the world of rugby league. It's time now to have a quick look at the NRL, of course, games last night. The Cowboys 22-16 over the Dragons and the Bulldogs 32-30 over the Sea Eagles. The Cowboys made a win they really needed to have. Jonathan Thurston hitting his straps ahead of Origin 2.
Yeah, that's it. He was quiet in Origin, but he bounced back last night, put on some great plays, and some of the chip kicks over the top and the passes he threw were vintage Thurston. But it was a win. And in hindsight, it could well be the win that sort of saves Neil Henry's career at the club. So hopefully they can build on that. Of course, they will be disrupted a bit with Origin selection in the next few weeks as well. But we'll see how they sort of manage that. But it was a win they needed, and some of their defence in the last 10 minutes I thought was outstanding. They were defending their whole line basically, and they held on. So good signs there.
Absolutely, and also good signs for the Bulldogs. A tough win there against Manly. It's always hard to get a win at Brookvale. They've shown some good signs in the last few weeks. Yeah,
that's it. Funny match there. I think the Manly Seagulls had a big lead, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, it was Bulldogs had the lead.
Bulldogs had the lead. Yeah, exactly. And there was a bit of went to Golden Point, of course, and there was that sort of controversial penalty. I'm not sure if you saw it, Darren, or how you saw that one.
No, sorry, I missed that one.
No, it was a bit. It was a controversial one. He sort of looked in his back, and then they marched in the 10 as well to give him the thing. But that's footy. Sometimes that'll happen, especially when it comes down to Golden Point. And there's always one team that feels robbed in Golden Point because you play so well for so long, and you end up losing anyways. But That's how it went down last night. We look at the rest of the round. The Raiders up against the Panthers tonight at Canberra Stadium, 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, it could be some points there. Canberra looked good against the win over Brisbane last week, but Penrith they've got plenty of spark. They may not have the names on the paddock, but geez, they've been playing some good attacking footy. It's hard to look past Canberra on their home turf though at night.
I do like the Raiders at home at night, like you say. It's slippery conditions, they'll be hard to beat. The Sharks up against the Eels at 7:30 p.m. tonight at Shark Stadium.
Yeah, you're never quite sure what you're going to get with Parramatta. It could be one of those matches where sort of Jared Hayne. Oh, sorry, he's not playing. So they're without Jared Hayne. So even more trouble then for Parramatta. Liking the Sharks in this one.
Yeah, and the Sharkies coming off a big loss against the Storm. Will the bounce-back factor come into play at home? You'd have to think so. Paul Gallen back from suspension. They should be much stronger. Luke Lewis back on the side as well. The Rabbitohs up against the Titans at Barlow Park, the ones we were alluding to before, 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Souths travelling pretty there at the top of the ladder. I can see them just having too much strike across the paddock as they have had for a few sides this year. Titans, not sure how much support they'll get up there in Cairns, but I'm liking South too.
It's a bit of a no man's land game, really. I mean, I'm surprised the Cowboys aren't playing a game up here instead.
It is, but at the same time, who doesn't like watching the Rabbitohs play? I mean, they're a great team to watch. Greg Inglis is there, a couple of Queenslanders as well there, Chris McQueen, Benny Teo. So hopefully a lot of people we know there's going to be a lot of people turn out.
It's
shortly a game of football. It'll be entertaining stuff for sure. The Storm up against the Knights, 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, mate.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. The Storm were sensational last week, and you just sort of get the feeling that they've sort of clicked back into gear. Remains to be seen how they sort of go through this Origin period, though, with the big three playing so many games for Queensland and, of course, the Storm. But I'm liking their combinations, and I reckon they've just got too much class.
Absolutely. The Broncos, they take on the West Tigers, 7 p.m. Tomorrow night. The Broncos are struggling.
Yeah, they are. They are. Their defence, they've just been atrocious, really, in the past few matches. West had that miraculous win there against the Panthers last week, so they'll be full of confidence. Could be a bit of a danger game for the Bronx again if West can sort of throw the ball around and throw a bit of caution into the wind. But surely the Broncos at home.
That'll be Monday night, 7 p.m. I'm not confident on the Bronx at the moment. Their defence is pretty flimsy, but hopefully we see the return of Ben Hannett. The ladder at the moment, top 8 is Rabbitohs at the top, then the Storm, the Roosters, the Sea Eagles, Titans in 5th, Bulldogs 6th, Sharks 7, Raiders 8. That's your top 8 at the moment in the rugby league world. And quickly, before we wrap up our rugby league discussion, mate, State of Origin teams get announced again at the end of this weekend. Queensland side, we're saying if Ben Hannett's fit, you expect him to come back in. Any other changes you can see coming, and who's the player to make way for Ben Hannett?
I can't see Queensland making too many changes. I think, as you alluded to there, Hannett, if he gets through injury-free for the Bronx on Monday night, I can see him making his way back into the side. And then it's a case of, who gets left out. Probably one of the back rows on the bench will have to make way. I think Chris McQueen had a really solid debut, so I think it's between either him and also Matt Gillette, who hasn't probably transferred his NRL form to State of Origin level, so I have a feeling Matt Gillette could be the one to miss out there. Yeah, I tend to agree it'll be one of the two. They serve, like we said in past weeks, they sort of serve the same purpose on that side, so we could see either one of them make way. As for New South Wales, they got a few troubles themselves in the last few weeks, of course, with Jared Haynes' injury. Robbie Farah's had a nose injury as well. James Tamo was, of course, suspended for drink driving during the week. Who are the players you reckon will come in those positions? Josh Dugan looks to be the man at number 1 if he's not suspended. Yeah, that's it. And wouldn't that be something quite remarkable from Dugan? He didn't have a club a few weeks ago, and it comes back to the Dragons. And from booze to blues is the headline I saw during the week. Good one. Can we say the same for Tamo? Probably not. Probably not. But anyway, he seems to be the man in line to get the jersey there. Suspended. It leaves them looking pretty short there at fullback, but you'd have to think Michael Gordon, he does have a little bit of Origin experience, with jump in there. In regards to the front row, they probably have to perhaps recall Tim Grant, who was there last year and missed out, or guys like Aaron Woods, Aiden Tolman, one of those props with massive work rates from one of those clubs. That's it. The Origin sides will be announced over the weekend. Sorry, Darren, what was that? Yeah, I was just going to mention too that just on the Origin side of things, a different Origin. England had their Super League Origin match the other day too. England beat the Exiles 30-10, and some old names in there: Steve Menzies, Joel Monaghan, Mickey Payer, all doing well, obviously, for the Exiles there as well. But a 30-10 win in a bit of a hit out for the English team ahead of the World Cup on home soil later this year.
Absolutely, and old being the key word there when you talk to Steve Menzies. He'll be playing till he's 50, that bloke. It's unbelievable. And still playing good football. It's amazing. We've got to go to a break here on SportzScene. When we come back, we'll shoot through the world of Aussie rules. So stay with us.
Do you have a street light that's not functioning correctly outside your property? Perhaps you've noticed a floodlight over a zebra crossing that's not operating. Well, Energex would like you to report it to them by calling 13 12 53 or completing an online form for faulty streetlights on their website at energex.com.au. Remember also that the council has to pay the running cost of all the streetlights, whether they're working or not. So let's get the most for our rateable dollar by reporting the streetlights not functioning to Energex on 13 12 53 or on their website energex.com.au.
I wish I could have my heart attack again. I felt an ache in my jaw, ignored it. Felt a bit short of breath, ignored that. When I was feeling tight in my chest, I didn't realise my heart muscle had already started to die. And all I had to do right at the start was call 000. Wish I could have my heart attack again.
Learn the warning signs at heartattackfacts.org.au.
For the best musical memories from the 50s and the 60s, it's Ted's Memories. Saturdays from 4 p.m. and only on 101 FM.
101 FM.
This is Saturday Sports Scene on 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. It's 29 minutes to 9. Your next fresh news update coming up at the top of the hour. A nice compact sports scene for you today. We'll take you through the hour until we got an outside broadcast at 9 o'clock. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan and Ethan James all with you. And Darren, it's time now to talk through the world of Aussie rules. We'll go straight to the NEFL. Round 13 they're up to here. Another cross-conference one. This one, East Lake up against Redlands. That's at Star Trek Oval. It's a nice name. Today at 11:45 a.m.
Yeah, to be played at, as you mentioned, Star Trek, which is actually Manuka Oval. 11:45 today. That match will actually be streamed on the NEFL website if you want to take a look at it. Look, as far as the game is concerned, both of these teams are sitting just outside the finals in both their conferences. So, it's a bit like one of those sort of games. I think I'm going to tip Redlands to get up in this one. We should also mention, too, before we forget, Southport do have the bye in the competition this week for a very important reason. They are playing West Australian powerhouse Claremont next Tuesday night at about, I think it's 6:35 p.m. local time over there in Perth. So, and Craig will obviously be involved in all that. So we wish Craig Crowley and the boys from Southport all the best against, I've got to tell you, I've been watching them this year, a very dominant Claremont Tigers side.
They're playing over at Subiaco Oval on a Tuesday night, mate.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? Usually these games are set as curtain raisers or what to AFL games simply because a cost factor, because the cameras are already there. I don't know what's happening at Subiaco on Tuesday night. It's there must be something going on over there that I don't know about.
Strange one. A few blokes will have to take some time off work to get over there on a Tuesday night as well. It is an odd timing, but we wish them absolutely the best of luck, Craig and the side there over playing in the Foxtel Cup at Subiaco Oval on Tuesday. He'll tell us all about it next week on the show. Moving now through the rest of the NEFL round, mate. Broadbeach up against Morningside at Broadbeach this afternoon, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, Broadie at home, sitting 8th on the ladder at the moment. Morningside, traditional powerhouses of the competition, sitting in a 5th spot. At the moment, Morningside looking all right. I'm going to tip Morningside for this one.
Labrador up against the Brisbane Lions. It's Cook Murphy Oval, 1:30 p.m. this afternoon.
We always talk about the lucky dip that is the Brisbane Lions. We're not quite sure exactly how many they're going to have from week to week. At the moment, they're sitting on top of the ladder. Labrador have all the work to do. Second last on the ladder with just the one win for the year. Not a matter of whether Brisbane will win, but by how much.
Mount Gravatt up against the NT Thunder, mate. That's at Mount Gravatt this afternoon, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, Mount Gravatt, bottom of the ladder. NT Thunder, uncharacteristically, sitting 2 spots outside the finals and not where they wanted to be in their 5-year plan, as we alluded to a couple of weeks ago. Still, it's a reconciliation cup, this match. The centre of the ground has been painted up. It looks a treat. I've seen some of the photos for it. It looks great at Ditmer Park there. But I'm going to tip the Thunder boys, even though they've got a big travel job to get down here to Queensland to play the game.
That's it. And finally, the UWS Giants up against the Gold Coast Suns. That will be tomorrow, 9:30 a.m, nice and early at BISP.
Yes, it's like playing juniors again, isn't it? 9:30 a.m, Skoda Stadium, obviously a big day of football at Skoda Stadium with AFL games as well later on in the day, hence the time. At the moment, the Gold Coast Suns, I think, are at this stage of their development, this being the two reserve grade sides of the AFL teams, obviously a year ahead in their development, and I'm tipping the Suns to beat the Giants.
That's it. And Aspley and Southport get the bye this week. We take a look at the ladder. Brisbane Lions on top, followed by Southport, then Aspley, Gold Coast Suns as top four. We've got Morningside, Redlands, NT Thunder, Broadbeach, Labrador, Mount Gravatt. That's the ladder. 12 rounds into the competition there. We move now to the AFL, also into the 12th round. Last night's result, the Hawks 15-12, 102 over the Carlton side, 13-9, 87. Hawthorn, mate, just going strength to strength.
Yeah, sensational effort from the Hawks. As I said earlier in the show, 4 goals each of the dynamic duo, Jared Roughhead and Lance Franklin. And I think Hawthorn will be doing everything that is possible and even more to make sure they hold on to Franklin as far as contract talks go later this year, with all the talk that's been going on about throwing ridiculous amounts of money at him. They got to hold on to this guy. He's just one of the superstars of the competition, as we know. Speaking of superstars, Chris Judd played his 250th last night and still playing well. He was in the best players on the field. Front of 45,500 people at Etihad. A great performance by Hawthorn, and they're still looking very, very good this year.
That they are. This afternoon, mate, 1:40 p.m. at the G. Richmond taking on Adelaide. Your boys starting favourites in this one, and I hate to tell you they are sitting ninth on the ladder at the moment, but that'll change after this week, I'm sure.
Yeah, I took a look at that last night myself and had a bit of a laugh. Look, Richmond, unlike other years, I believe, are finally the real deal. And I think Richmond will play finals football this year, finally. And
I'll sneak into 8 there, or?
Sorry?
I'll sneak into 8.
Yeah, I just, normally, I tip blindly because of my heart and all that sort of stuff for the Tigers, but this year I can actually tip them like that as I do every other year, but this time round actually have some credibility, because that's how well they are going at the moment, and they'll beat Adelaide.
Absolutely. You talked about tipping blindly. 4:40 p.m. this afternoon over at Patterson Stadium. The Dockers up against the Lions. The Lions rank outsiders. Do you give them any chance, mate?
No. To put it bluntly, Craig and I had this discussion on air a few weeks ago about how Michael Voss, whether he'll keep his job and all that sort of stuff. I know Craig feels he probably will, and he's probably right. Actually, they'll probably hold on till the end of the season and see where it goes from there. But Freo, too strong.
Yeah. I think that one, is absolutely looking that way. 7:40 p.m. tonight, Etihad Stadium. Essendon up against the Gold Coast Suns. Gold Coast Suns, not as short price as Essendon, not as short price as you would expect with that. The Suns, it's a compliment to the improvement that they've shown this year.
It is, and it's a compliment that we can sit here and say, look, I think they're a chance. They're a chance to upset. I think they're a chance to upset almost every week they go out and play now. I mean, they've proven that when they play teams like Geelong and go deep into the game, even leading them at that stage. So their development is coming along very nicely and a lot better than I must admit I'd given them credit for. Having said that, I think Essendon will still win the match, but as you said, kudos to the Gold Coast Suns at the moment. McKenna's got them travelling nicely.
Absolutely. GWS Giants at home to the Port Power, mate. That's Sunday afternoon, 1:10 p.m. Port Power, an amazing start to the season. It hasn't quite worked out for them in the last 5 weeks, though. Yeah,
5 and zip at the start and lost the last 5 in a row. What do you say? I mean, where are they going with this? Even though this is an 11 versus 18 game, given Port's form, 5 losses in a row so far. The Giants have thrown the scare into a few teams and then faltered in the final quarter and had some fair scores kicked against them. But I'll tell you what, I reckon they will go close against Port. I think Port will just take them.
And they're due to bag a win as well. They've, none from 11 so far. They're due to bag a win, GWS, and at home.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think GWS just, as far as their development, the youngsters, as has been pointed out, the kids' bodies aren't quite just there just yet. They're probably a year or two away from being fully fledged league footballers, and in terms of their bodies and that and their build. But they're just a quarter away from playing, getting 3 or 4 wins.
That's it. And the final match of the round this week, mate, 4:40 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Etihad Stadium. Collingwood up against the Western Bulldogs.
Collingwood against the Doggies. Doggies are a massive disappointment, and they've just been, they've been travelling okay, but not great, and they've fallen out of the cycle of the last 5 or 6 years where they were a genuine chance in sitting in that top 3 or 4 every year. It's not going to happen for them, not this week.
Hard to see it happening, mate. Absolutely. We take a look at the AFL ladder now after 12 into the 12th round. Hawthorn out on top, followed by Geelong, Sydney, and Essendon's the top 4. And we've got Fremantle, Collingwood, Carlton, West Coast is your top 8. Followed up Richmond in 9, Adelaide 10. Port Adelaide, Gold Coast Suns in 12, North Melbourne, Western Bulldogs, Brisbane Lions, St Kilda, Melbourne, and GWS Giants. That is everything we got there for today for the Aussie Rules. A nice quick segment there on that. We'll now talk quickly the Lions tour, mate. It continues to swing around the country. The Lions picking up a big win during the week over the combined country Queensland and New South Wales team. No surprises there. Brian O'Driscoll again, another strong performance there. And there's now talk he wasn't expected to be in the Test side to take on Australia in a little while's time. Now it's looking like he's played himself into that spot, which makes me very, very happy, Darren.
Oh, it makes me happy too. I mean, he's a great old name. I mean, I've always put my feelings out there about the Irish and all that sort of stuff before, but I'd love to see O'Driscoll get another Test cap, especially a Lions Test cap, just to cap off what has been, a wonderful career. It really has been. We've tended not to worry too much about it here in Australia because he's not one of us, but he's one of the great champions from the enemy.
And he really stamped his mark on the world scene in that Lions tour the last time they were here in Australia back in 2001 with a couple of great performances. So to me, it would be great to see it come full circle and see him starting the Test match again.
It would. And, you want to see some of these older guys go out on a real high. You hate to think they've come halfway around the world just to play tour games and, essentially carry the drink, so to speak. So, Driscoll, I really hope he gets up. There's a couple other guys that have played a fair number of Test matches as well that I'd like to see get in as well.
Absolutely. And also from last week, the Reds, they went down to the British and Irish Lions 22-12, but a good performance there by the Reds. They really gave the Lions a real good shake, a pretty good performance by them there. The big news out of that selection coming after that, a few names added, but the big one, Kurtley Beale gets the nod, Quade Cooper does not. Darren, for a guy who has this year, he's been fighting with his teammates, like fistfights with his teammates, has troubles with the alcohol, he's been in rehab, he hasn't played top-level footy in a couple of months. What do you think of that decision?
Yeah, it makes it tough. If you were Quade Cooper, you'd probably be sitting back, you're feeling a bit dirty on it all, wouldn't you? Look, if he's managed to convince the coaching staff that he's fine now, although, if he's just coming straight out of rehab and stuff and going to go straight into a high-pressure cooker situation, he's not on the field yet. He's in the squad, but, I'm not overly impressed with the decision.
Look, he's an outstanding talent, Kurtley Beale, no question about that. I question bringing him back after he hasn't played for this amount of time.
Right.
And the headspace that he's in at the moment.
Yeah.
And to overlook Quade Cooper, who's been playing some good footy for the Reds, who are sitting up near the top of the Super Rugby ladder. It's a strange one in my mind.
Yeah, I agree totally. And we all knew that last weekend was Quade Cooper's last throw of the dice. And, he did everything he could. And, I didn't think I'd ever hear myself say this, but I'm starting to feel sorry for him.
After what happened, in the international season last year and what a target he made of himself. But yeah, you're right. It looked to me that the writing was on the wall for him a fair while out, and it looked like Robbie Deans just didn't want to pick him. He decided he wasn't his man, and I suppose that's fair enough. He thinks James O'Connor's going to be his man at 10, and he's got Kurtley Beale in there as well. So, Robbie Deans is essentially living and dying by this Lions tour. They need to win, and James O'Connor's the man he trusts. Quade Cooper isn't. It's that simple, I guess, at the end of the day.
Well, that's what it comes down to, doesn't it? And you're talking about a guy who's had possibly the most stellar coaching career at provincial level with that amazing Crusaders side. Has he, down through the years coaching the Wallabies, has he lived up to expectations? I don't know. I put it out there for other people to answer.
See, they take on the Waratahs tonight, British and Irish Lions, and then on Tuesday they take on the Brumbies. And the big one, it gets underway, the first test next Saturday night, Australia versus the British and Irish Lions. That will be an absolute cracker. June 22nd. Yes, mate.
Can I just say, too, kudos to Channel 10, I think, who've got the rights, bringing back Gordon Bray. I mean, he is the voice of the game, and it's just great to see him, doing the test matches.
Fantastic stuff. That'll be at Suncorp Stadium, June 22. Massive crowd. It'll be sold out. It'll be a great atmosphere. It'll be a great game for sure. We'll take a break here on SportzScene. Plenty more to come.
Life. Life is for living. So live it. Life. Life is for giving. So give it. Giving blood is cool. Needing it isn't. Red Cross. Give a little. Life is for living. Life is for giving. Help save lives. Please give blood.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a chicken, E-I-E-I-O.
The farms where most of our egg products come from aren't what they used to be. Across Australia, 11 million hens are still confined to the misery of battery cages. Please, don't buy into cruelty. Help Animals Australia put an end to factory farming.
Be a voice for animals at animalsaustralia.org.
Remember When with Richard Davey, bringing you golden musical memories from the 1920s to the late 50s. Every Sunday from 1 p.m. on 101 FM.
101 FM.
You're listening to Saturday Sports Scene on your station 101 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Scene here on 101 FM. 13 minutes to 9. We're wrapping up the show quickly at 9 o'clock with an outside broadcast coming up. It's been a rapid-fire hour. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. We're going to wrap up the show. First of all, we'll squeeze in as much as we can in the next 13 minutes. We'll start with the world of motorsport. Darren, fill us in. What's the news with the world of motorsport?
Yes, as far as the motorsport is concerned, just bringing you back up to date with qualifying and everything again. We're at Michigan this weekend for the NASCAR. It's used to be the fastest closed course track in the world at one stage. Mario Andretti used to hold the world record for the fastest lap and around this 2-mile oval. Carl Edwards currently on pole for the race this weekend, sitting alongside him. Kurt Busch, 23rd is Marcus Ambrose. As far as the standings for the championship is concerned, old 5-time they call him, Jimmy Johnson, because he won the championship 5 years in a row, ahead of Carl Edwards and Clint Bowyer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting in a 4th spot, and just taking a look at Marcus Ambrose at the moment in 23rd. Bit of a worry for him actually, because his teammate Eric Almirola is sitting in 14th spot and has a very realistic chance of making the chase. There is also good news for Marcus. He's got a couple of road races coming up, and he doesn't just do well. He actually tends to win those races, or at least come 2nd or 3rd. So he will pick up some important points there. As far as the IndyCar is concerned, we have qualifying has finished there in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Mile. Marco Andretti on pole. James Hinchcliffe sitting alongside him. On the second row, Will Power from Australia and a good friend of this program. We have further down as far as the Aussies and New Zealanders are concerned, Scotty Dixon in 11th spot and Ryan Briscoe in 19th. So that race later on, I think tonight actually, our time, or tomorrow morning our time, there at the Milwaukee Mile. MotoGP, the MotoGP Grand Prix of Catalunya, and in practice, fastest time at the moment has been Valentino Rossi. Has put up a really good performance there. Currently, the world standings in MotoGP, Danny Pedrosa ahead of Jorge Lorenzo and the young superstar Marc Marquez as well. As far as the V8s are concerned, we're in Darwin this weekend at the Hidden Valley, and Jamie Whincup leads the championship from Craig Lowndes and Will Davidson at the moment, and fastest in practice, and the practice session number 4, Mark Winterbottom from Tim Slade, Scotty McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen. And as we've mentioned many times this year, just great to see a lot of new young names up there doing so well in V8 supercars.
Absolutely.
Formula One last weekend, Canadian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel was almost a lights to checkered flag win. He led every lap but 3. He won from Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Mark Webber just outside the podium in 4th spot. And tell you, Daniel Ricciardo came 15th there as well. And I heard the best commentary line I've heard all year, guys. The Dutch driver, Van der Gaard, was involved in an incident with Mark Webber, and one of the pit reporters turned around and said, well, that's just reason why you should always pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. So I was half asleep in bed watching it, and I think they could hear me down the street laughing my guts out. But it was just the best line. And it's a shame there's so many kids now would not even get the joke. Sebastian Vettel sitting at the top of the Drivers' Championship position from Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Mark Webber sitting in 5th, and Daniel Ricciardo, who is firming as the absolute favourite to take Mark's spot should he leave Red Bull later this year. He will be replaced by, the way they're talking at the moment, possibly by another Australian in Daniel Ricciardo, sitting in 13th spot for Toro Rosso at the moment. So pretty much brings you up to date. There is some news there on the, as we've mentioned in the last week or so, this business that goes back to Montreal. After the Spanish Grand Prix, there was a test done by Mercedes, and a lot of controversy, a tyre test done, which you're not allowed to do with a current car. Well, the June 20 will be the hearing date for that now, and hopefully we'll get that out of the way, and any clouds that might be over that wonderful Monaco result for Nico Rosberg as well too, because it'd be an awful shame if they tried to exclude the results there. You know, the whole father-son thing, it's a wonderful story, and I'd hate to see it spoilt.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date with the world of motorsport there, Darren. Listening to SportzScene on 101 FM. Kevin Braysher, Darren Madigan, Ethan James, all here with you. We move on now. The world of tennis quickly, guys. The French Open wrapped up last week. 2 unsurprising winners, really. Serena Williams over Maria Sharapova, 6-4, 6-4 in the finals. What did you make of the performance of the great Serena Williams?
Yeah, I didn't actually see the match, Kev, but Serena Williams, just too much power for Sharapova there on clay. And as we've spoken about previously, Sharapova, her movement isn't sometimes the best, and Serena, that powerful serve, powerful ground strokes, just too strong.
Absolutely. That is her second French Open after the last time she won it was back in 2002. Great performance there. Serena Williams, Darren, just, keeps getting, she just doesn't fade, gets better and better.
She does, and, she's right up there for me now. I mean, I still consider the greatest female tennis player of all time to be Steffi Graf, because she's won so many Grand Slam tournaments and she's got an equal number in all of them. So she was dominant on all surfaces. But gee, it's getting really hard to go past Serena getting right up there with her. And Serena has always had the one thing her sister Venus doesn't have, and that's what's called a B game. Yeah. When she's in trouble, she can reach back and guts it out and get up and win. The other thing too, when she's playing in a final against someone like Sharapova, Maria's she hits the ball so flat. As we know, her movement's not great. It's she's up against it as soon as she comes up against Serena on a surface like clay.
Absolutely. She's won 16 Grand Slams now, Serena Williams. No question, one of the all-time greats of the sport. Another man who is unquestionably an all-time great of the sport, Rafa Nadal. He won the final 6-3, 6-2, 6-3 over David Ferrer. No surprises there, Ethan. Rafa Nadal, an 8-time French Open champion.
Yeah, it's something quite remarkable. We touched on it at the top of the hour, but no players won 8 Grand Slams, and for Rafa to do that at the French, he just lives and breathes tennis on that court, and to watch him out there on Roland Garros on the clay is just something else, really. The way he plays, the physical nature of his play, the way he just dominates from the baseline, and some of the shots he was pulling off throughout the tournament, some of those forehand passes and backhands and all the shots in the book, really. He's just a remarkable player on clay, and in the era of players like Federer and Djokovic as well, sometimes I feel he doesn't even get quite enough credit for the way that he plays the game, and the fact that he's come back from injury and all that sort of stuff as well. Can't say enough about it.
It's an amazing achievement. Darren, in baseball, Yankee Stadium, they used to call it the house that Ruth built. The Roland Garros, they should call it the house that Rafa built, because he was just born to play on that surface.
He most certainly is. And look, I can say about his opponent, David Ferrer, David's probably 18 months, 2 years, about where Andy Murray was about 2 years ago. In that respect of, he's good enough to win a slam, but it's just he's missing something at the moment. He's just not quite there. To be fair, he was playing Rafa. He didn't do a whole lot wrong. Rafa's just so damn good on that surface. It isn't funny. We're off to the grass courts now. It's going to be interesting to see how his knee holds up.
It will be, and Wimbledon starting very soon, the 24th of June. Ethan, you've done a big piece in Australia. What's the magazine make? If you plug.
Thanks for the wrap there, Kev. The Australian Tennis Magazine for this month. I've got a in-depth, I'd like to say, maybe Wimbledon preview in there. So if you want to check that out, at all good news agents.
All right, well, who do you like going into Wimbledon, mate? Who are the guys that are looking strong on the grass season?
Yeah, well, we talked about Rafa there getting 8 French titles. If Federer wins this one, he'll go to 8 Wimbledon titles himself, and that will, of course, surpass the great Pete Sampras. He can break his record there of 7. So, yeah, it's hard to look past Federer on grass. I mean, he's got the all-court game to really prosper, but in the past few years, the courts have they've slowed down a bit, which has brought guys like, Djokovic and Murray, their sort of more baseline predominant sort of games. And, of course, Nadal's had success against Federer, Wimbledon as well. So it's sort of evened the playing field perhaps between those big four, and Federer may be getting towards the end of his career in terms of his fitness and court coverage and that sort of stuff. Yep. Perhaps Murray and Djokovic have made up a bit of ground there, or perhaps even surpassed him in that regard. So
I was just going to say, we shouldn't forget, though, that Federer did win last year.
That's it.
The second champion. Darren, we've just given Rafa a big rap for him being the greatest clay court player of all time. What about Federer as the grass court player?
Oh, look, I just think Federer's just an all-court player. I mean, if you're going to call him a complete grass court player, I think the greatest grass courter period was probably Sampras. Yeah. But the thing that makes Roger the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, and many others, is that he is that ultimate all-court player. He can play any shot in the bag, and the thing that makes him the greatest is he's probably in the top 5 in the world in every shot that you can possibly play with a racket. And when you add it all together, that makes you the greatest, and that's what makes him so good. He can read the play on grass better than anybody currently on tour. And look out! Leighton Hewitt, he's through to a semi-final, and he's playing against the top players, and he's beating them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing whether he can make it into the second week of the tournament.
Absolutely, that'd be fantastic. Look, we've got to move on there for the moment. I've got 2 minutes left in the show before we go to the news, wrap all things up. We'll go through some quick local news and all the rest of it. We'll start with the Southern Basketball. We will do a full Wimbledon preview next week. We'll allot some more time to it. We've got the full show. The Logan Thunder, they are playing this afternoon, 3 p.m. This is in the women's. Karumba, how we say this, probably Cornubia Park Sports Complex. They're taking on the Toowoomba Mountaineers. That's this afternoon at 3 p.m. In the men's side of the draw, the Logan Thunder will be there as well. Same place, the same time, 3 p.m. Logan Thunder up against the Toowoomba Mountaineers. In the men's as well, West Logan, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning at the Logan Metro Indoor Sports Stadium, taking on Toowoomba Mountaineers as well. We take a look at the ladders at the moment. Let's see where the Logan sides are sitting. In the women's, they're sitting in 11th, the Logan Thunder in 11th. And then the West Logan sitting 5th in the men's, and then the Logan Thunder in 10th as well in the men's. So that's a quick wrap of the local basketball. Darren, very quickly, have we got a little bit of netball coverage? Where are they at this weekend?
Yep, we're looking at this weekend. The Suncoast Link are at home to the McDonald Steel Cats at the State Netball Centre, 3 p.m. this afternoon. 2 games at the same venue at Clump Road at 7 o'clock tonight. Brisbane West Lions will play the Golden South Jags. Kedron Wavell Services Club Cougars will play the Logan Wildcats. ANZ Championship, the Firebirds have, where have we got here? Firebirds are at home to the Swifts tomorrow at 12:10. That will be the television game on SBS2 at midday, so you can catch that then as well. So they're going well, and they've come off a really good win last week against the West Coast Fever, 72-47.
That's it. Look, we got to run here. We're out of time here on Sports Scene. A great compact show today. Darren, thank you very much for being here. Ethan, thank you very much for being here as always. Kevin Braysher here. We'll be back same time next week, 8 a.m. So make sure you're listening here on your station, 101 FM. Stay with us now. We've got an outside broadcast coming up. See ya.